I'm Matt.
And I'm Chris.
We're best friends.
And brothers in the fire service. And this is the 360 Podcast. Welcome to the 360 Podcast. As always, I'm with my buddy Matt. I'm Chris. Today we have a very special guest, friend of ours, Captain Dunbar. Captain Dunbar, welcome to the 360 Podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We're excited to have you. And you brought a whole bunch of goodies here. So I'm going to let you start explaining this. You currently are in charge of AFMA's drone program.
That's correct.
Correct?
That's
You've been involved in drones as long as I think I've known you.
That's great.
And I'm going to let you tell us what you brought in for us,
Sure.
and then we'll get into it, buddy.
Yeah. So what we got here on the right, this is the I'll call that the flagship of the drone program.
That's the Cadillac?
It is. Yes. This is more
Careful,
like
Matt.
it's more like a Ferrari than a Cadillac.
Oh,
but
baby.
this is the DJI M30T,
Okay.
and it is a all-weather and multi-sensor platform. It's on this one here. We also have an additional components. There is a loudspeaker and a spotlight and a payload delivery system on the bottom.
Okay.
The camera setup it's multiple sensors. It's got a laser rangefinder. It's got a thermal camera. It's got a wide angle and a 200x zoom camera.
What?
Yeah, I can zoom like almost a couple miles out.
We should film the podcast with this. What are we doing with these?
They're pretty amazing aircraft.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's got an extensive range. It'll fly. I think it's almost 8 miles from the point of takeoff. It's only limited by its battery power.
Okay.
So like you get to a certain range, it detects when that battery's depleted enough that it needs to conserve energy to get
bingo limit.
and then it'll return. There's a lot of safety features built into them as well. It will detect any kind of issues like obstacles and avoid them. It's got multiple sensors. I don't know if you can see all the eyeballs, if you will, all around it. And it completely 360 evaluates its environment while it's manipulating the airspace. And then it's controlled with that larger control unit there. And it is one of the biggest features for this aircraft versus some of the previous aircraft we had was it has a temperature rating up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. All the previous ones were at 104 degrees. So when it got to 104 degrees, which it kind of does here in the valley,
Yeah, I was going to say.
during the summer, the aircraft were mothballed. We had to put them out of service until the summer temperatures went down. But we could use them in an emergency situation, put them up real quick, get them back down. But the cost for that was the batteries are a LiPo battery, and they're very sensitive to heat. So even though we would put it up for a short amount of time, the batteries could swell, and then those batteries had to be
shot.
Yeah, they were shot.
For sure.
And at like $189 a battery, we were going through a lot of batteries during the summer, so we tried to limit it to that. And these ones, like I said, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty much all throughout the summer, it's deployable. And then it's like a negative some 32 degrees, which we'll never have to worry about.
Yeah.
It's all weather, meaning be in the rain and up to winds like 30, 40 miles an hour. So it's allows those capabilities for us to use it year round. And then with the sensors it has on there, it just really provides a lot of information to incident commanders.
So let's get into that. So for our audience out there, the purpose of drones in the fire service.
So we use them in a multitude of ways. One of the key ones that I would say that is most effective to us on the field is it gives an aerial view to the incident commanders. It can be placed into an automated 360 orbit around any structure. So if we had a structure fire, I could put this thing up without even having to manipulate the controls. It'll form a complete 360 and it'll maintain that entire orbit throughout the operation until the battery gets too low. I can pause it at any time and live stream the video directly to the battalion chief or whatever incident commanders are viewing it. And then the other thing is with the sensors, specifically the thermal camera, it allows me to monitor structure fires and like that and give information that's unobtainable in any other manner. So you have it can find hot spots. It can find where the seat of the fire is depending on the roof structure. If you had like a ceramic tile roof, it's not so effective, but your typical roof, it can actually see right through there.
Oh, wow.
And you can see the trusses in the rooftop. You can see the fire based on temperature range by a color metric. So the darker, like a purple, would be almost surface of the sun hot,
Sure.
and then it tapers down to like a yellow, or it's just significantly hot. So I can tell you from an aerial perspective exactly where your fire is located. And then
That's wild.
That's a
It is.
great
And
like a tool for fire attack, man. That's
absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely.
360 orbit from a command standpoint that's like so incredible.
To me,
right?
it provides a whole nother level of fireground safety.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
only because what happens? We get a structure fire, first on duty or first incoming captain goes and does a quick 360, right?
Sure.
That's usually the last time you get a full 360.
yeah, and then they're sitting in the truck. They have one view of the
Yeah,
house, and they're
the A
relying
side
on
of the
radio
structure, and that's
reports.
it.
Yeah,
But this one here allows you to not only get that initial 360, but throughout the entire operation, you're getting complete oversight of what's happening. And then the incident commanders may observe things where you don't have crews even on the fireground operating that could be of
Yeah.
concern. So from a intelligence perspective or reconnaissance type of perspective, it is a force multiplier, but big time. And then with that thermal component, it's a lifesaver, like
Sure.
it's significantly for us on the fireground. Outside of structure fires, what we can also do with it is we use it on wildland fires, brush
Okay.
fires.
Yeah.
We're talking large scale incidents where you're not going to be able to get a 360-degree overview of that unless you send a truck on like maybe a mile long drive, right?
Sure.
This thing here, I can not only give you a 360, I can go up to 400 feet, give you the entire
picture.
landscape, yeah. And then I can also go and observe specific locations that you may want to have further information on. Like maybe you identify a structure that's at risk, and instead of driving a truck all the way out there, you could use it to fly out there and even use the megaphone to contact people on the ground and say, hey, you need to evacuate, or at least identify the structure and send a crew directly there instead of them just driving around trying to find people.
So on like a large wildfire campaign, how do you relay all that information that you're receiving to the rest of the incident command?
So that's a great question. One of the things that we have, and I'll elaborate a little bit more, is we have a program now called Drone Sense, and I'm actually a certified instructor for them now. So that's fantastic because I'm able to really dive into the details of this. But one of the main components of that is it allows me to live stream it to any device. So I can do a push notification to the battalion chief's iPad. Eventually, we could be able to do it to the MCTs. I believe the capabilities there. We just don't have it at this time. But I can also send it to Chief Burdick's desktop. I can send it to your iPhone or whoever we identify that needs that information, and they'll be viewing it through the camera in real time.
Oh, wow.
And they can also communicate back to me through the device without having to come over and talk to me. They can push different icons, say, go evaluate this, identify a hazard and mark it so we know, hey, there's a propane tank here or something, so that we can look at the image right then and there and be aware of what kind of risks we have. And then, like I said, it's in real time.
Sure.
So the other capabilities, like when we're talking about brush fires, one of the really good things about that is because they're significant in size, I can go ahead and give you the exact area that's involved. That's huge when we got to like transfer those kind of calls over to like state or wildland or state. And what they'll do is they'll ask you one of the first questions, how much you got involved? And I can do a quick survey of the area and tell you exactly how many acres are involved. And that's really big because they want to know that whether they're going to bring in what crew amounts they're going to bring in, and also maybe they need air attack,
Wow.
And then it's also used search and rescue, huge for search and rescue because of the thermal capabilities. I can identify a missing person or somebody a lot faster than a lot of other people or other means. And then besides the wildland search and rescue, but like because of the payload delivery system, you get a water vehicle into a canal. I can actually fly this aircraft out, deploy, and bring them a life preserver and a helmet.
Yeah.
So like if they're on top of the vehicle, we can go out there, give them the safety equipment they need until we can exact a rescue. In some cases, I can actually fly out a tagline to them that they could tag onto their gear, and I can reel them in. So we don't have to put any bodies into the water to do the rescue. That would be depending on the situation and the environment, but it is a capability. And then just any other kind of payload, the only thing that's restricting us at that point is weight and imagination. So I can fly tools. If you had an incident where you had some hiker up on top of like the Vietnam Memorial Trail where we're located, who's having a cardiac event, and they're with somebody who contacted us, I can actually deploy an AED to them
Oh wow.
in less time than it would take us to get
up
the
there,
crew
yeah.
even closer, so they could get,
For sure.
right on time. You can get, time is cardiac muscle, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
you get that up there. You can do primary or preliminary stuff before we can get in there and do some more ALS-like equipment. So that's a fantastic ability for
What's the weight limit?
that. About 10 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So I can take a 5-pound sledgehammer
Yeah.
and take it to the roof.
Sure.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. I haven't tried to do that yet.
An
but-
AED, but we can't fly like Manny up the mountain.
Not yet.
Not quite.
that
ready
that
yet.
capability's out there, just not anything we
Soon.
have. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
When are you contracting with Amazon around the holidays? I guess is my question. Or Walmart.
Well, that's my private side. Yeah, no, but yeah, this thing has got a lot of capabilities. It's a very useful tool,
Yeah.
and it provides a significant amount of information to, like I said, incident command.
Yeah.
So it's
I know it's new. Has it gone out on anything exciting yet? Has it
yes,
accomplished anything?
yeah. So we've used it on a couple structure fires, and we've used it on a search and rescue, or actually it was a car into a canal.
Okay.
And we also used it on some brush fires. But the real good thing about that was the first time we used them on a structure fire was a residential fire up in Whitman. And we were deployed as brush engine 334 just to be another unit on the fireground. But we were the last truck to arrive. So I contacted the battalion chief at that time, was commanding, it was Battalion 301. I showed up and I said, hey, I have a drone on the truck. Would you like me to put this up in the air? In fact, we had two. And he's like, absolutely. So I put it up in the air. We did a quick 360, gave him a good overview of what was going on. And then since we had two, we had one stay on station doing a 360, and the other one we used, at that point, they were looking for a lost dog.
Okay.
So we used that drone to fly around the property to see if we could find the dog.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the dog was still in the structure, so we never found him.
No.
But during that search for him on the property, we had found that the structure fire had actually sparked a spot fire in the fields behind it. So we actually had the beginnings of a brush fire.
Sure.
So we were able to detect that before it got very large and deploy a brush truck over and take care of that before we had anything else at risk. And then the 360 orbiting drone was, basically giving an overview. The battalion chief decided he wanted to send the ladder crew up to do ventilation. So I brought the drone around and just focused on them. So we had oversight on what they were doing. He's seeing that in real time, and I'm using the thermal. So as I switch onto the thermal, I'm evaluating what the conditions are. And they wanted the whole cut. I'll just say it was on the north side of the structure. The ladder starts to head that direction. I look at it with thermal, and I said to the incident commander, I'm like, you don't want these guys here. Look at that. It was purple. It was the heat of the surface of the sun hot.
Sure.
And you could see there was no trusses left.
Oh.
And so I'm like, hey,
Wow.
let's get them off of there because, they're at risk.
For sure.
And he immediately pulled them off the roof. And then within 5 minutes, that section of the roof was completely collapsed. Now,
That's huge.
did
That's
we
very huge.
save firefighters from falling in? I don't know, but that's the whole point. We don't want them
Would
to
rather
get
not
to that
find
point.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like,
so
for sure.
we have the tool to prevent those kind
Absolutely.
of
Should their
accidents.
training have caught that when they're sounding the roof? Should they notice the structure of the roof and how it feels and stuff? Right?
Yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah,
probably
sure.
would have
And
pulled
they-
themselves off the roof.
Right.
But why even put them at risk?
I can tell them before they even go to
Yeah.
the roof that that's untenable.
That's awesome.
So
That's amazing.
How is so like you walked up to BC 301 and said, "Hey, I've got this drone, right?"
Mhm.
Do they have to look over your shoulder on the little device there, or how
on
do
that
we-
particular incident, yeah, because we didn't have some of the equipment we have now. At that time, we didn't have drone sense, which is the ability to live stream it to a
Okay.
device, which we got shortly after that. But the stopgap was right away. I bought these monitors that are in a Pelican box, and I can set it up right next to the battalion chief on a tripod, and then I can go anywhere on the fireground, and he can watch it on a 32-inch monitor.
Okay,
And
that's incredible.
yeah, and so that was one of the main reasons we got that is because I don't want somebody looking over my shoulder because I'm trying to focus on the operation of the aircraft.
Yeah,
And it's a limited size screen, so that opens it up to like a larger image so that they can focus on the details. And then I can be anywhere on the fireground. That's where I feel like I need to be to observe the aircraft or to look at the incident and not have interference.
So with all that said, what is your vision for the drone program, like moving forward? I know we've spoken about this every time I see you.
Yeah,
I like
I have big plans, right?
well, great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like we're moving, the authorities moving with technology, and this is a huge part of it.
And we really need to, right? My main goal or dream, if you will, or even the image that I see this going to is that we have these aircraft on a dedicated vehicle that responds to specifically our jurisdiction and our neighboring jurisdictions on the west side. Currently, Phoenix has what's known as Drone 1. They were stationed at 61, and they kind of work Camelback Mountains and stuff like that, doing like injured people up on the trail, stuff like that. Gilbert on the east side over here has Drone 251. Same idea. They have a command van that rolls up. They have the drones. They can be dispatched on the initial assignment. And then the same with Drone 1. And then they can provide that capability at the same time as other apparatus are showing up. Because you want that initial response so that they can get, good intel right off the bat. That's the most critical point for us when we first arrive on scene is, that's the most dangerous time. We don't know what we're getting into. And this will give you that information really fast. So my goal is to have Drone 331 or whatever we determine is the best location to house this unit. And then it would be a dispatched as well for like 9 nature codes is what we specifically used to evaluate how often this would be used.
Okay.
Structure fires, large-scale hazmats, wildland fires, things like that. I can go through all 9, but it's almost anything you can send a battalion chief to.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So then we would dedicate the aircraft in that particular unit to respond to those nature codes. And then they could use that there. But my additional goal would be to train pilots on every apparatus and put one of the smaller thermal drones that are relatively cheap. And just like a thermal camera on a truck, we would have that capability not only for thermal imaging, but if you're out on what I like to call the frontier stations out there in Tonopah or Whitman, where it's going to take a lot longer for even a dedicated drone unit to respond. Like you have somebody lost or somebody's been injured in a UTV wreck and their only identification of where they're located is like a cactus next to the dirt road. I can put a drone up on that engine quickly and locate it a lot faster than I can by driving around on the ground.
And you could gauge like how far it is too. You can tell the responding medics, hey, it looks like they're about 2 miles away from where you are.
Some of those trails, right? Not just being able to find them, but then being able to route in.
Yeah, and we've actually used it in that capacity before. We had an incident, a brush fire. We couldn't find routing into the scene of the fire. I used the drone to scope out the location and then backtrack through dirt trails and all that stuff to find the best access. And then once I located that route, I came back and I dropped the drone down to eye level in front of the engine and said, follow the drone. And took them right onto the scene. So
that's fantastic.
That is amazing.
How many brush fires have you been on where they're like, hey, it's that way. We know it's 3 miles in this direction.
You can see some smoke.
And so you start following the trail only to find out it dead ends or it's a wash you're not going to pass. So you'll be above them and be like, hey, make this left. Nope, I can see where that's going. Don't go that way. Like, that's awesome.
And it's a huge tool, and it allows us to get on scene a lot faster and mitigate the emergency. So that's a major. I like to use the term force multiplier, because it does. It takes what you need 4 or 5 units out there trying to locate the source and the routing in, and I can do it, a lot quicker. So, like I said, search and rescues, I can put these into search patterns where I designate whether it's a circular pattern or a kind of a zigzag pattern.
For sure.
We want to evaluate a specific area. I can fly the drone in a path like that while we're maintaining. The drone will do it on its own. I don't have to control aircraft. I put it into a pre-programmed pattern. Allows us to fixate on what we're seeing. And then what's good about that is you may locate them, but also if you don't locate who you're looking for, it also eliminates that particular area. So you're not dedicating resources to an area where you don't have any opportunity to find somebody. So
that's incredible.
So now, what does it look like building a drone team, right? So I would imagine schooling, specific licenses.
So you're absolutely correct. What it takes for our program to become a pilot within the organization is about a 5-day course. It consists of about a day and a half of classroom work, going over the material you're going to be tested on through the FAA to get your license. And then you'll spend about 3.5 days, 10 hours of flight time, learning the aircraft, learning how all the functions and features within the aircraft work. And then after you've completed that period of time, you'll go to the FAA testing center and take a test for them. Once that's completed and you pass it, within 36 hours, 48 hours, you'll receive a temporary license. And now you're licensed, what's known as a Part 107, and allows you to operate the aircraft legally throughout really the country. But that's our minimum standards for in-house. There'll be follow-up training after that to work on more of the advanced capabilities of the aircraft, but the basics it takes about 5 days.
The program's like active. I guess one of my questions would be, is there any data that you've been able to put together, yes, for like the potential usage for this?
I have. So I did the research. I pulled the numbers based on 9 nature codes that we could deploy the drone to.
Okay.
I did first just AFMA and how many times it would have deployed in a 6-month period, and then I expanded it to the jurisdictions that we are up against, so that we could provide this service to anybody in our first and second dues. Just in AFMA in 6 months, there was 350 calls that this could have deployed to.
Wow.
And then
That's crazy.
when you add in the other jurisdictions, it went to 700.
700.
So if you take that and expand it out to a year, that's 1,400 potential calls that this drone could have been deployed to.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and just think about the potential outcomes, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't know all the calls, but
right.
the potential outcomes, the impact it could have made.
Right. And you may not need it on every single one of those, but
For
you'll
sure.
have that tool. I don't need a pike pull on every call.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it also gives you the really big thing that we're always trying to do within a department is give back to the system.
Absolutely.
So if we provide a utility truck, that gives the whole West Valley access to a utility truck. We put a drone team in. That's a huge thing that now we're providing back to the system, and everybody benefits from that.
And that's, like you said, that's not available in the West Valley.
Not at all.
So it is a crucial need.
Yep.
That's awesome.
To expand on that a little bit, there are drone programs that are in their infancy around us, Surprise, Peoria. They're limited on their dispatchability as well. Like right now, I believe that, and I may be incorrect here, but Peoria has a drone very similar to ours, if not that exact model, but it is with the PIO.
Okay.
So if the PIO is not on duty, there's no drone, and it doesn't necessarily get to go to every incident.
Sure.
And then the one thing that Surprise has got in the works, and Glendale actually has this in fact now, is something that we could go to. Is called the DFR program, or Drone as a First Responder. And what it is very much like a big Yeti cooler up on the roof of a fire station with a drone like this inside of it. Glendale uses this now. They have an individual sitting up in their dispatch, and when an incident, be either law enforcement or fire, they can deploy this drone immediately before you even make it to the truck. That thing's already left.
Nice.
And then it gets on scene. It can do live stream back to the incoming units. You can get an idea of what you're responding to and what you might need to upgrade to prior to arrival. And then, it stays for, I think it has a 20 or 30 minute flight and then has to come back. It's a little limited in that regard because once it gets on scene, it gives you that initial information, but then it has to go home.
Okay.
And then you could wait, but it has to go back, recharge, and then fly.
Sure.
So another 20, 30 minutes goes by. So even if you have that kind of program in place, which is extremely expensive, it's about $150,000 per unit.
Oh, wow.
And then you actually have a dedicated individual that's sitting somewhere to deploy it. But the problem with that I see is that once it gets on scene, gives you that information and leaves, you don't have that capability. But if you had somebody on scene that has a drone that they could put up, now you can maintain it throughout the entire call.
For sure.
And you don't have a gap in that information.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But again, that's a long-term goal.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that within our AFMA districts as well. One located even at Admin, and one in Buckeye Valley, one here. So there's more stuff coming out down the road as well. But right now, that's one of the things that Drone as a First Responder, which we are in position to enact that right now if we had the finances. If the budget was set aside for it to do that, we could. Surprises in the works to do that now. But again, like I said, it's limited. And I don't know if they're going to actually, no pun intended, get it off the ground.
It would be like it wouldn't replace all of this, right?
No.
It'd be a nice like, hey, let's get something before the specialty team shows up.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yep. And then they got a whole toolbox of other capabilities they can bring besides just oversight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's a growing industry. It's a growing need, and right now, like we can meet 90%, 95% of anything we would need to use this on. And then as time goes on and the tools become more available to us, we can do more.
Then you build a drone team, right? Everybody gets certified, and are there any other benefits? I would assume the wildland division, right?
Yep.
We get contracted to go out. The authority makes money. I would assume this is a great way for the authority to actually bring in some other revenue.
Significant.
If you invest a little money up front, you train the personnel, get their licensing done. And then wildland, I mean, once the word gets out that we have this team that can deploy, I bet that's got to be worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely. So one of the main goals for the drone program is to develop a wildland deployment team for the drone operations. The need for them on those, like I've already discussed, is significant, and the capabilities or the ability to find teams is very hard. There's not a lot of them around the country, very few in the state, and so the opportunities to deploy this is almost on every fire that they need contracted. We're sending engines and crews out.
Sure.
These would probably get more requests, and then on top of that, they bring in significantly more money and revenue to the department because of how much they bring and how few of them there are.
Yeah.
So we're trying to build that team right now.
Okay.
We have the equipment and the trained pilots to do that. The problem we have is that there is a particular set of courses that come through the NWCG, which is the organization that manages wildland.
Okay.
I think that's at a national level. There's 2 classes that are required, and we are unable to get that training, not because we don't want it, but because those organizations are working on their own internal people before they'll go out to what they call co-operators. So we've been using a lot of our resources within the department to make inquiries about it, and they're basically saying it's going to be about a year and a half unless we can find a way to get it done. Once that's done, though, we can start off with like these drones, which are good for reconnaissance and some of that. But then there's opportunities to step it up
with like bigger drones,
different capabilities. Yeah, like the next step up would be a larger drone that can do what's called PSD deployments. They're the little ping pong balls that do backfires.
Oh, okay.
So it has like a gumball machine hopper on the bottom.
Yeah.
And like that's done by, from a helicopter now, or crews with, the drip torches going out. Little bit inaccurate as well. You're just kind of walking with the terrain, and a helicopter is very expensive. And also, you have multiple souls up in the air that are at risk of any kind of accidents in rough terrain.
Yeah.
This also has the ability for me to put it in millimeter specific locations. So I can say, we're going to go from A to B. I want one every 3 feet, and it'll drop it every 3 feet.
That's cool.
The next step up would be a large scale fixed wing that would go up generally at night and fly thermal missions over the entire campaign, so that they can take that information, give it to the incident commanders, and then they can evaluate where they want to deploy their resources in the morning. That's a huge deal.
Jeez.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm picturing you like that colonel from Top Gun that's telling Tom Cruise, like, we don't need you anymore. We don't need human pilots. We've got computers.
We've got the AI taking over.
I didn't even know you watched Top Gun, man. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And that was the second one, by the way.
I watched it before I came in today just to get prepared. Yeah.
So is there a potential that with that training you were saying that we're missing and we're I guess in line for, that if you got certified, can you become an instructor of that, and we do that in-house to expedite things?
I would imagine that's possible. I'll be full disclosure, I'm not a wildland guy, so I'm a little outside that circle.
For sure.
But my I call him my second in command for the drone program, engineer Vince Nielsen.
Yep.
He is a wildland expert.
Sure.
So
he really is.
Yeah, and so his influence on that and capabilities to tell us what we can and can't do with this, and to make resources available to us is you can't even measure that.
Yeah.
So that's his goal. He's actually working a lot behind the scenes on getting that accomplished.
Awesome.
And the only thing holding us back is that training.
Okay.
Once that's done, we can formulate a simple team with this and get it deployed almost right away. So,
is it just going to be when it comes to reality? Is it just going to be a suppression thing, or is it going to be open to the EMS division?
It would be open to any incident we needed. Oh, you're talking about personnel?
For personnel.
I don't have any. I want the whole department trained.
Sure.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
Every single person
Baby
can operate
steps.
the aircraft, right? But no, there's no restrictions as to who can operate it. If we find a need for it, we can definitely train anybody in that capacity. I would like I said before, I'd like to have a dedicated team that responds. Any one of those 9 nature codes.
Yeah.
That would be like drone 331. And then I would like to have additional aircraft, cheaper models with thermal capabilities on all the engines, battalion chiefs and stuff like that, so that if there's a delayed response to this, they still have it. A single engine response out in the frontier areas, out in the desert.
Sure.
They're going to be able to use that a lot quicker than us getting somebody out there. So I'd like to have 1 or 2 people trained on every crew, every truck, with the capability of using that. And that would just be the perfect scenario, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But it could be done limited budget. I think it could be done with the biggest cost to this isn't even the aircraft procurement. It is the training budget.
Yeah,
Just is a significant cost to train people. But once you're done with the training, I never have to retrain you.
Yeah.
The only follow-up budget needs would be follow-up advanced training. So, drills and quarterly drills and stuff like that. And so, once we get the teams trained and the equipment's already in-house, obviously we would need more if we had them on all the apparatus, but for that cost is pretty low. And then the training as far as licensing and stuff like that, it's null and void after you get the initial training. So there's no more additional cost to additional training.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of potential upside to a program like this, right? I mean, drones have been around for 10 years, right? They've been hitting the fire service for 10 or 12 years. And initially it was kind of like, oh, we need a drone, but we don't know why. But
everybody's getting them.
Same thing with filming, right? They're like, we need a drone. We don't know what shots we're going to take with it, but everybody's got to have one.
We need it, yeah.
Same thing in the fire service, but like there's some very serious use cases that
Absolutely.
Like for a relatively low investment cost, like if this works one time for one family,
it saves one life worth everything,
spent, right? Yeah. Just like everything else we train on, that's super cool. And the information it provides to a command perspective is like that's going to change, right? I don't think we will I will always pull a hose off the truck and have to like bring it into a building and do a search and whatever. But we're talking about shifting how we provide information to the command structure. Like that's crazy.
They can make strategic decisions, tactical decisions based on information that they're seeing that we may not see on the interior.
Yeah. I just think it ups the safety game by 1,000, man. It really does.
Yeah, and where are we at in 10 years now that you can hot link to somebody's computer? Is like, are command vans no longer a thing in 10 years? Are they just a set unit at a set building that then gets fed these live feeds, and they're the what are they called on when they come on scene? The like advisors or whatever, right?
Yeah, like liaisons and stuff like that.
High level advisors that are like, hey, you don't call in card 1019 anymore. Card 1019 is they walk over to their Connex box. That's it. Got EC. And they turn on 12 different monitors, and they have you now put up your iPad and see their face while they're looking at everything, and they tell you what to do.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
The future is
and not to just build off of that. One of the things I'm doing is I'm pursuing right now through grants is a vehicle that would be able to be used as a drone response vehicle, and it's like a Sprinter van.
Yeah.
And it's got monitors inside, all the things you need to charge batteries and all that stuff, communication equipment, with a Starlink unit on top. So I have capabilities to live stream in the middle of nowhere to those locations that we were talking about. But then this particular van is large enough, it could actually act as a miniature command van. Your incident commanders could move into that, and they have a workspace. They can see everything on the screen. And they can also mount a large TV about 36 inches on the outside of the vehicle, and it has an awning. So they could be out in sunlight and still see what they're looking at and not necessarily be involved in the command van and be able to keep their eyes on the situation out front while not being in the vehicle if they want. So
there's a lot of potential, man.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's got a lot. And the thing is the technology keeps advancing.
Yeah.
It's going to be better next year than it was this year. One of the things they're adding to it is there'll be AI into the system. So it'll identify things that I can't even see, but that the systems will. And I mean, I don't even know where that's going to take us, but it's going to be significant. And like specifically on a search and rescue, I could put into the AI algorithm, we're looking for red shirt, blue jeans, and then I might not see it with the human eye through the RGB regular camera, but the thermal and the other sensors on there will detect that, and the AI could say there's a target worth identifying. We should evaluate that one, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I can not only not have to see it with my own eyes, but then the aircraft to fly further, faster, and do that information gathering quicker than I could by just having to pay attention to what I'm looking at through the camera in real time.
So you had mentioned Drone 1 and the drone in Gilbert, correct?
251.
251. Now, is their program kind of modeled like this, or are you kind of taking what you've learned from them and trying to push it in a whole new direction?
Both. So like our team was initially built off of the concept that Austin Fire has. They're called the RED team, Robotic Emergency Deployment Team.
Okay.
They have aircraft. They have about 20 dedicated pilots, but they also have some additional unmanned systems. They have like a Stokes basket that is actually floats, and it has it's almost like a little boat. So with a thermal camera on it, they can go out and drowning victims, and they could take that out to the middle of the lake, and they could get onto the Stokes and bring it back in. Oh. They have ground robots, like bomb disposal robots, so they can go interior to structures and potentially even exact a rescue on somebody because it has the capability to grab somebody and pull them out.
Wow.
And there's a multitude of different aerial aircraft that they use as well. So based off of what their model is and their policies and the way that they operate, I had contacts over there. They shared all their information with me. I modeled it to fit the way we operate. And then since that inception was put into effect here, after that, sometime later, Drone 1 was the first unit.
Sure.
It may have been Gilbert. I'm not sure who came first, chicken or egg, but both of them came in. Phoenix came out with a policy or an MP for the operation of drones. So we've adopted that into our program and tailored it to meet our program and that policy, or that it's not a policy. What am I thinking of?
Like a SOG?
SOP. SOP. So thank you. So we use their SOPs. We use some of the information we learned from an experienced team, and it's been significant in us growing our program. So,
do you know if they deploy their drones for wildland out of state, or they contract?
I don't believe they have. I know Phoenix doesn't. I don't know what Gilbert's situation is. I believe it's probably local to the municipality.
Sure.
And so,
but to be on the forefront of something like that, I'm just kind of thinking, outside the box again, like potential revenue streams, stuff like that.
Yeah.
To be first in line to set the standard, I think is just an invaluable thing to have, and to be potentially put in that position is amazing. Yeah. Very exciting, actually. It really is.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. The story about the trusses and that roof office decisions is that crazy to me, right? Like, I like technology. I'm aware of this space, but I'm not super into that. And I've always thought of drones as like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's nice on a search and rescue or whatever, or maybe on wildland. And I'm not a big wildland guy.
Right.
But to hear that, like, it saw trusses, right? Like, it was a thing that, like, hey, we're going to use this tool, and everybody in the field's like, my eyes are better, right?
No,
sure,
you can't
your fancy tools here, whatever. I'm still like, I want to be able to see the building, yada yada, right? But to actually say, like, no, there's no trusses on that part of the roof they're about to walk over to, you should pull them, is incredible.
And to add on to that, hazmat incidents, say we have a leaking tanker truck or a train car, we don't know what that particular material in that is. I can be at a standoff distance, keep all people out of the hot zone, and I can actually either take the aircraft in and read, DOT placards to tell you what we're actually dealing with.
Sure.
Or I can keep the aircraft up to like a mile out and zoom in on it.
Zoom, you don't even
so I don't even have to put the aircraft into the incident. And with the thermal capability, I can actually look through the container and tell you how much product is still inside the.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I mean that's a big deal. Yeah. So if you look at some of the risks that we have in our first dues, you have BNSF Railroad running right through Sun City West. They're carrying all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Intel. I mean, I can go through a laundry list of potential locations with hazmat incidents.
For sure.
Again, we're not putting people into these environments until we know what we're dealing with. Yeah. And that's, again, life safety, right? I mean, absolutely. I don't want to go home with cancer or glow in the dark. No. So I'll send the drone in. If it gets contaminated, yeah, we're out of some aircraft, cost money, but money's better than life, right?
Absolutely,
so,
agree.
Yeah, that's a huge event we can use those for.
Nice.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
And to add to that, I know we've been talking about the M30T, which is, like I said, that's the Ferrari of drones. It is state of the art right now. There's not much more you can get that's not military,
Okay.
But we also have the smaller drone here on the left, or on my left, your right, is known as the DJI Avata 2.
This guy.
That's it there.
Very lightweight.
Super lightweight. Props are protected. The camera's protected, and this is meant for interior operations. Okay. I can fly this into a structure we may not want to put people into yet to see what we're dealing with.
Okay.
And it can also, if you needed to, it could work on the exterior as well.
Sure.
But primarily we would use that, say we had a chemical spill inside a building. We don't want to put anybody in there. We want to search for victims before we go in there. Whatever incident command decides they need some eyes inside. Yeah. But they're not sure if they want to, if it's tenable, whatever. I can operate that aircraft, fly it indoors. And what's really fun about that is I use that with FPV goggles.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm looking right through the camera.
That's
when
awesome.
I fly it. Yeah. And it's super easy to fly. I can train almost anybody to fly that in a minute. And it's got a lot of capability. And so
you're familiar with these?
I'm very familiar with them.
Yeah. So we have two different controllers. That one there, it looks just like an Xbox or PS5 controller, which is fantastic because almost everybody these days has played video games. And so there's no learning curve to using it. Yeah. But on the right side here, this is the primary one that came with it. And this is a controller where if I want to turn the drone left, I do this. If I want to turn it right, I do this, up and down. And then I can take video by pushing a button here. I can reverse, forward, all that sort of stuff. And it's got a lot of capabilities to move through very tight spaces. Yeah. And then if for some reason, if I make contact with something while going through that environment and it knocks the aircraft out of the air and it lands on the ground, if it lands upright, I just fire it back up. It takes off. If it lands on its top, it has what's called turtle mode. I push a button and it flips itself back over.
Oh, wow.
And then I can go continue the mission without having to send somebody in or lose the drone completely. Yeah. So
is this the style of drone you're kind of hoping to outfit on just like the standard apparatus? And
it would be useful. It would be useful. The only issue with that particular model is they don't have thermal.
Okay.
So it's really an eye that you can get into, an environment.
Okay.
That's not saying the Avata 4 doesn't come out. They're at the 3 now, but if the 4 comes out and has that, or if there's a need that is, given out to the manufacturers, like, hey, they're very good about providing equipment to public safety through what they call the enterprise programs. And they take input from us. Okay. And so that may be coming down the road.
Nice.
But so right now those are the two state-of-the-art aircraft that we have that serve different roles and different missions, but they, if you deploy, we bring them both. We actually bring, you ever heard the term 2 is 1 and
one is none.
One is none. We go with the 3 is 1 that way, because drones, unfortunately, it's technology. So I get out there, everything's updated, everything's charged, ready to go. I hit start, and it says not today. Yep. I don't have to delay time. I go get another drone out. It should fire up. If it doesn't, I've got a third. Okay. After that, hey, I don't know. But
back to binoculars, I guess.
Yeah, sending crews in with thermal cameras. But I mean, I've never had any issues with these aircraft starting up. The only thing that we've ever found is that the batteries drain really fast. But these ones here, the larger one aircraft here has a 40-minute flight time. Okay. And I also carry enough batteries with me that are fully charged and the ability to recharge them with a battery station that we can do 24-hour operations.
I was going to say, so minimal downtime. You probably have to land the aircraft for a quick minute, change and back up.
Yeah, it has what's called hot swapping. Before you had to shut the whole drone down, pull out the battery, put it back in, reboot it up. Now you've opened up the door to another technical glitch.
Okay.
This one has 2 batteries, so I can go into a hot swap. All I have to do is remove one battery, put the new one in, remove the other battery, and I've never had to turn the aircraft off. and then it goes right back up.
So you're going to need like a pit crew too.
You can do it with a pit crew, yeah. Just in and you time it. If it takes you more than 30 seconds, you got to do more training.
Wow,
so,
man.
But yeah,
at some point we'll fly a smaller drone with a battery.
It plugs into the back, or like in-flight refuel. It's got a little cable you plug in, and it just refuels it and recharges it. But
I'm telling you, man, there's so much upside to this program, and I know personally. I mean, I'm excited that you're heading this up.
Thanks.
So all the years I've known you, we've talked about this, and
I nerd out. I will definitely admit that.
I love it, man. I love it, and now a lot more appreciation, especially the safety features. I mean, number one overall, just the safety for this is unbelievable.
Yep.
So that's amazing.
Yep. My mission has been since day one to get these into the field because I recognize the potential, the life safety. As firefighters, we want to not only protect the public, but we want to keep ourselves safe at all times.
Well, that's the goal.
That's the goal, right? And so anything we can add to that to add a level of safety to it, even if, like you said, it only is used one time and it has one successful outcome, it's worth it. And that's where we're at now. I mean, there's a game plan, there's a path to follow to get this to become a standardized thing. It's just at this point we have to really focus on how to do it, how to get it out there. And I've got some plans for that. I've worked it through the system. We're in talks about it, and I think that with the right mindset and goal to move forward and really incorporate technology into what we're doing, it's just going to make all those incidents so much safer for everybody involved, and we're going to have good outcomes. We're going to be able to do things we can't do
just more efficient, right? Like our job will always be Matt, pull a hose to that door.
Sure will. Yeah.
But now maybe instead of because of the way the building was built or additions and where smoke's coming from, we think the seat of the fire is over here. And so Matt was told, hey, go pull a hose over there. And then we get in there and we're like, that's not really, we're in the wrong part of the house, right? Now it's maybe the first time is always the right time, right? That first hose line is going exactly where it needs to go.
I can identify the seat of the fire from the exterior.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, go to the left, don't go to the right. And also just like other cases that we've seen it before, there was some 962s vehicle accidents out on I-10 out in the Buckeye Valley area.
I didn't even think of that, looking for victims. Yeah.
So in that particular case that I'm referring to, they had that exact thing. They had a ejected patient. They knew they were somewhere, but they couldn't find them. It was dark, it was middle of the night. They were doing a search looking for this individual. They can't find them. They had to call Phoenix's Firebird out, the big helicopter, to come out. It takes them 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get on station. They show up, they do one pass, and they're like right there. And then they leave. Well, we wouldn't have had to wait that 20, 30 minutes. I could put the drone up and said, he's right there.
Absolutely.
And that continued. There's so many other use cases that you could find to do that, use that technology.
Yeah, and how much, the time that would save, right? And I think that's something that until you do that walk on the side of the highway that you don't. I didn't realize that coming on. I'm sure the public doesn't think of that, how far people can get thrown from a vehicle. I've in Whitman spent 35 minutes in a wash looking for another victim, and knowing that they were in the car, and it still took us. They ended up wedged underneath a Palo Verde tree. Yeah. And it's just how much quicker could that have been?
Sure. Drone, exactly. Right? Yeah, it could have done it a lot quicker. And one of the things is, you might use the aircraft to identify somebody who's missing, but like I said with the search and rescue earlier, it also eliminates where you need to deploy resources where you're wasting your time. And we get them all the time, vehicle into a canal or some other body of water. Instead of having to put crews in there to do it, to make sure that vehicle is clear, I can put the drone right in the window. Yeah. And I can say there's no obvious people in the vehicle. We can move the search out downstream and look along the banks. And we've actually used that and for that exact purpose recently.
So safety and efficiency. Absolutely. I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
More.
More, absolutely.
Always want more, but what it brings is it really is a force multiplier, and the information that it provides to us is invaluable. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we're absolutely excited for this program for you. I'd love to try and become a pilot one of these days.
I'd love to do it.
I'm not as good on the joystick right there.
You'd be
as
surprised.
Matt is, you know.
You'd be
Don't
surprised.
ever play like Mike Tyson Punch Out with this guy.
That's old school.
No, it's a newer. I don't know what it was.
It's Fight Night, I think.
Oh, Fight Night.
Okay, yeah.
I guess Mike Tyson was the guy you could choose in it. This guy beat me up so fast. Like, you take one look at him, like, I'm going to beat him, man. I didn't even last through the round.
You get on a drone team, give you a month, you'll get him.
I'll give him run for his money.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
well, I'll tell you what, man. We appreciate you coming out.
thanks, man.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Absolutely.
You know.
Appreciate it.
You got anything else you'd like to chat about, Matt?
I've learned a lot. I would like
I've learned a
to
ton.
send my official email in when they ask for more pilots.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. That would be awesome to be part of that, man.
Yeah. The only thing I'll bring up is not only are we using it on the suppression side, the community CRMD guys, they have 2 pilots trained over there now. So they use it to go out and do site inspections, permitting, where they're doing like these large solar panel farms way out in the West Valley and stuff.
Sure.
They can put the drone up, map it out, get all that information right up front without having to take a lot of time. Because again, now it can do more.
Yeah.
Be a lot more productive and a lot quicker to move from site to site.
Yeah.
And they found it extremely valuable.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming in, boss.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for the platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't forget to like and follow. Thanks for watching the 360 podcast.